Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. It has been so long and I have missed you all so much. Hope you are enjoying your holiday season so far. For today's project, I'm going to switch things up a little bit. I'm going to share with you first the supplies that I'm using for my card, and then I'm going to have a little bit of a chatty catch up to let you know what has been going on. And so that part of the video will just be process with me sharing some life updates. Now that's not for everyone, I know, so I will suggest going ahead and hitting mute on the video so that you can still have the process portion, and then clicking on some Christmas music, and I'll drop a link in the description for some Christmas music that I have been enjoying watching on YouTube so that you can see how I put this card together. But really what I want to do, my goal for this card, is to transition from Christmas into the next season. So what I wanted to do was bring some of my Christmas supplies together with non-holiday tools. Like this Coneflower, I decided to try and make it look a little bit more festive than the summer flowers that we created. And so I'm going to bring those together with some stamping and some pattern paper, and hopefully this will ease the transition into the next season. I'm not quite ready for Valentine's yet, but we do have some time for New Year's, and then some crafting and tutorials for non-holiday projects. So that's what we're going to do. I hope that you will enjoy this project. Let's get this started. Now the inspiration for this card, of course, was that Coneflower, and I'm using this die from Garcia's studio. This has many different layers, so I picked 3 different shades of the same red. I'm going to stack them to create depth, and I'm also going to bring in some distress ink to do a little bit of shading. That is going to be the focal point. And then I also wanted to really build up quite a lot of foliage to kind of create the beautiful arrangement. So I'm going to work in some pine cones. These smaller size are the ones I'm using, and they're layered. This one came from Gina Designs, but I've seen them in quite a lot of different places, so you could probably find one pretty easily. This has been my favorite die that I picked up all year. I've really enjoyed creating these extra large foliage sprays, and I found they're very easy to put together. I've got this Zig 2-way glue pen that helps me to get the adhesive on those very small little branchy bits. So this is really going to anchor the shape of my flower arrangement, and then bring in a couple of different tones of green as well. So I'm going to also use the Sunny Studio Winter Foliage. This has a couple of different kind of shapes, so I pulled some out, and then I'm going to use the metallic-y colors and a little bit of red glitter cardstock just for an accent. So I really enjoy these as well. I think these 2 dies will definitely work all year round on the different flower arrangements you want to make. So those are really practical. Okay, one last die that I got from Gina Design is this Hexagon, and it has like a little cross stitch instead of just a running stitch. So that's a nice little extra detail. So originally when I picked up this die, I planned to use it to do pattern blocking to create my own background, and I didn't get around to that yet. But it's a pretty practical die. I'll be able to use it all year round. And for this card, I chose to cut a mirror cardstock with the largest die, and then I used the next one down in the nested set to create a frame. And so that has left me with this little piece. I'll definitely be able to use this for another project, but I think this is going to create kind of a more updated style for my card instead of just an oval or a round frame. So this was really a good find as well, and lots of different sizes, so you can use it for many different projects. And then when I get to the point where I have my sentiment on, This is from Hero Arts. I picked this up a fair few years ago, and what I really like about it is that I can build a sentiment to the shape and size that I want. There's lots of different variations that you can come up with. It has a little die for the Mary part. I didn't use that. I just stamped on the Merry and the Christmas and Wishing You. And because I knew where my flower arrangement was, I put my paper in my stamping tool, and then I arranged it so that most of the sentiment would fall on the right hand side and a little higher than middle, so that I would have room to add my arrangement. And so here is the pieces that I cut for my flower, and you can see there's 4 different sizes of the petals that go in the coneflower, and I'm gonna go ahead and ink those while we catch up. And I just wanted to show you a couple of different choices that I had for the cone part of the flower. While I was working on these over the summer and fall, I was putting on a brown cone over a black background and then inking it, and that worked really well for the summer and fall flowers. I didn't really like the look of it on the Christmas flower. I thought it needed a little bit something more special. So then I took that one out and I put this very shiny, bright mirror cardstock, and that wasn't right either. It was just a little too over the top. So I put that one aside and I pulled out a more bronzy colored cardstock. I was able to get a little inking on it. It's a little bit shiny, so it didn't stick as well as on the brown paper, but I think this is a definitely very festive for the holiday, but not so garishly shiny that it took away from the rest of the card. So here's where I'm going to leave you. Remember, there's going to be a link in the top of the description. So if you want to pause the video now and mute the chit chat, you can do that and then have your Christmas music and still enjoy the process part. So I will meet you back up at the end of the video, and I'm gonna get to work now. So okay, so I wanted to catch you guys up on where I have been. I did allude to it briefly in other videos that we had a lot going on and it was all good stuff, but I had so many of you friends reach out to me and ask me where I've been, if I'm okay, what's going on, how come I haven't been posting. I really wanted to thank you guys for reaching out to me. It means the world to me that you were worried over me and looking out for me, and so I do feel very lucky and blessed that I have the best community of YouTube family, so thank you all for that. So this all kind of started in mid-November. The sorority that my daughter-in-law Lexi belongs to had a benefit banquet for the Make-A-Wish Foundation at the university she belongs to. So we were able to go to that, and it was so nice. The young women that belong to that sorority were able to raise over $7,000 for Make-A-Wish, so I was really proud of them and happy to be able to participate in that event. Then we got the very happy news that they decided to move up their wedding so that they could get married before our son had to move out west. So we enjoyed having a lot of family in from out of state. There were rehearsal dinners, family dinners, and of course the most special, wonderful, happy day. The wedding ceremony was absolutely beautiful. I did get permission to share this picture, and of course I have a little mom privilege in thinking that they're the most beautiful couple ever. I'm so happy for them and proud of them, and I cannot wait to see what their future adventures will take them. So that was fun. And then we did have a really big, nice combined family dinner, and so that's really a blessing to have 2 families that really enjoy spending time together and can have activities together, so that we're just a much more big, happy family. And so that kind of rounded out November, and then on the 23rd we left for our big cross-country trip out west to take Jonathan for his base And so we had a 3-day car trip, and we're so fortunate that it went very smoothly. We had really nice weather, no drama, no car trouble, any of that. And it was such a nice experience just to travel the country and got him where he needed to be on time. Now, of course, we were traveling over the Thanksgiving holiday, so that was kind of an adventure. When we got to the spot where we were stopping, there was nothing open. I think most people don't hope to or plan to be traveling during the holiday, but by the time he got his travel papers and we just had the amount of time we needed to get there, it just wound up to be inevitable. So we wound up having Whataburger French fries for Thanksgiving dinner because that is all that was open. And I think that's kind of fun. It makes for some fun memories to look back on. And so we did get Jonathan out west to his base. We had some time to get him settled in and even had a little time to do a couple of touristy things. And so that was fun. Then we flew back home, the tech hubby and I, into Detroit Metro. And the flight was perfect. It went very smoothly. It's about a little over 3 hours to get from out west back to Detroit Metro. But when we got home, it was a very terrible snowstorm. And so it took us over an hour and a half to get back from the airport. So it's Detroit Metro, but it's really in Romulus. It should take about 45 minutes, and it took over an hour and a half of nail-biting, praying, driving to get home, but we did get home safely, and now we're just kind of settling in to being empty nesters, and that's kind of a transition for me because this is the first time in almost 26 years we've not had one of our kids living at home, and so that's kind of been a little bit of an adjustment, but we're doing okay and sorting out how to be a household of 2 people. But I think all in all, it was such a filled and blessed several weeks. And like I mentioned, it was all good things, but just kept me pretty busy. And I didn't have as much time to work on videos as I wanted or even work for the shop things. So I'm probably about a week and a half off of where I would have been normally, and that's okay because I'm just always going to put family first. That's how it should be. But now I'm kind of back. I put a few things in for the Christmas shop in this project today, and then I'm also going to film Friday's video today as well. That's going to be it, and I'm going to wrap up Christmas. So the updates that I had for videos are that next week I do plan to have one process video for my traveler notebook, my documenting December for 2020. Y'all had requested actual process tutorials for the pages inside, so I'm going to do that. And then for January coming up, I do have a plan to crash my stash. I hope that inspires everyone to have some good basic designs that you can swap in and out different collections. Maybe they're from your stash, maybe you picked up something new, so that you can get through a lot of it. Now there's a lot of things I want to pick up. I really need to make room for them in my storage. So January is going to be crash my stash. I hope that you all plan to join me for those videos as well, and maybe we can get through some of that together. So here is my finished Coneflower. I think it's perfect for Christmas. It isn't quite a poinsettia, but I use my poinsettia year round, and I think it works for a lot of different seasons, and I don't think there's any reason not to see this Coneflower being that way. We've done summer flowers. We did fall and Halloween flowers, so of course if I switch it out to a beautiful rich red color, it can have the feel of a poinsettia or a winter bloom, but just be a little bit different. So I got the cone portion added, and I think you will agree that that bronze color really does work so well. So what I'll do is just go in and fluff up those petals, because that's where all the magic happens for this die set, and all that beautiful dimension will appear. And so here's the one that I have made. I already had one prepared, so I'll just go ahead and switch out to that one. And then of course I prepared the card base as well. So we're gonna go with just my basic 5 by 6.5. And I finished the inside with the coordinating paper that I'm gonna use on the front. And because that black and red check is so beautiful and vibrant, I chose to mat my layers with black cardstock. That just seems like a good classic combination. And so here is my front layer. Now I got this paper from Hobby Lobby, and it's a really good scale for cards. Sometimes you get those plaids and they're a little bit too big, so sometimes the pattern gets lost if you want to layer it. So I'm just going to pull this a little closer so I can see over the top, and I'll just center this. I really like the white border around that black cardstock. It makes it very crisp and nice. Okay, so now I'm going to build in the sentiment. Remember, I stamped that, and then remember I also mentioned that I cut my frame from that nested hexagon set. So I cut that with a pretty shiny gold, and that kind of updates it a little bit. And then I used my favorite things, extreme black ink pad, for the sentiment. It gives a really good saturated, crisp, clear image for sentiments, and I think that worked perfectly. I also wanted to mention that I put the frame on with my score tape. Now I didn't have any 1/8 of an inch, I just had 1/4 of an inch, so I put that 1/4 of an inch tape down on a piece of wax paper, and I just cut it in half. That way I knew I could get it to fit into that frame so that it would not stick out anywhere and be visible. And then I also put this up on a foam spacer so that we can get some dimension. You guys can let me know in the comments if you had any fun adventures over the holiday season. What was your favorite part of Thanksgiving? If you did a big family gathering, or you had a more adventurous day and did something different, let me know in the comments. I'd be very happy to hear what you all had going on as well. Okay, so like I mentioned, that flower is pretty big, and I know it's going to take up a lot of room, so I need to put my sentiment well over to the side and up from the middle. So this is another thing that helps it to look a little bit more modern, I think, is offsetting these layers, because traditionally you would put that right in the middle and then build around it, but we've got it here, and this is going to leave enough room for our foliage. And that's kind of where I focused a lot of my attention on this. Instead of adding trims, I'm really building up a very nature inspired floral arrangement, and that's going to start with that beautiful branch. I'm going to put these in place as I work along, because I need to be very aware of saving room for that sentiment to be showing. So here's the coneflower that I finished. I did add a little bit of stickles just to the ends to make it a little bit extra special, and you can see now that that's really going to start filling in and building this beautiful floral arrangement. Now I took the holly leaves from the Sunny Studio die, and I cut those from a very bluish green because I wanted it to be a very noticeable difference between that and the larger layered foliage. So what I want to do is work some of these layers in as I'm going along so that I don't lose where I want them to fall. Okay, here are my pine cones, and these are layered again. Remember, they had 2 pieces. I have found my favorite combination is craft paper for the top and just a nice warm chocolatey brown for the base. That way you get the full effect of all that layering. And I want to have these close to the coneflower because that's going to help enforce that curve that we're putting in. So I'm just gonna go ahead and add these now, and I'll just add these with my hot glue. And just as I do, I'm building this arrangement off of the project so that I can move it around and get things exactly where I want them. While I was designing this arrangement, I did consider putting in a red bow of wrinkle ribbon, and I just couldn't find a place where it looked like it should be there, so I just went ahead and skipped that. And so what I'm going to do here is start moving pieces around to get it nice and filled in. So this looked very nice out here, so let's put this in and then layer that with our branch. This paper has footballs on the back side. That's kind of funny. Okay, so I want to make sure that I cover up the cut end of that holly. And then last but not least is my red glitter cardstock. And I'll finish that part off here. And we'll kind of repeat for this side as well. Okay, so now I'm just going to add this large cone flower with the pine cones to the corner. Make sure that is well adhered. I can fluff up these petals again to make sure that all that lovely dimension is showing. And then last but not least, of course, I want to add a couple of sequins because this is really going to bring a little bit of extra sparkle and detail to the right front corner to balance this left-hand side. And so this is my transitional holiday project using some of my Christmas supplies, but also some that are going to really service me all throughout the year. Now I'm going to put my sequins down with a little bit of Tombow, but I just wanted to mention that you should be planning to come back Friday for the next video. We're going to be doing a revisit and remake of one of the cards that I showed during a haul video. I didn't have a tutorial for it at the time, but I really loved it. And so I wanted to recreate it using a different palette so I could change the whole vibe of the card. And so that will be coming up on Friday. And then the week following will be for a December daily. And then we're gonna jump into some non-holiday card tutorials. So I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, if you enjoyed this chatty style of vlog, let me know in the comments. If you clicked out and put Christmas music on, let me know that too, because that really helps me to know what you guys are interested in watching. And of course, I'm going to get back to all the comments on this, and I'm home and settled in. It's very cold outside, so I'm trying to stay cozy and have a little more computer time. So I'm definitely going to be able to get back and respond to all of your comments. I enjoy reading them so much. And thank you for allowing me a little bit of time off so that I can participate and be present in our family events. I'm very blessed to have my family as well as my YouTube family. I'm a lucky girl, and so I'm very happy about that. Now, don't forget, you can find a link in the description for our other social media sites, as well as for Etsy shop. There's just a couple more projects going in before we wrap up Christmas, so that will be listed hopefully by the time this video goes live. If you're not already, please consider hitting the subscribe button and joining our crafty little family. And as always, I'm wishing you a happy and productive day, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.